Welcome to another episode of Age of Geek. I almost said movies that make us, Val. I said don't do it. I said in my head don't do it. But I almost did it anyway. But that's because we have Val with us today, who is one of my co-hosts on Movies That Make Us, and I've done that 55 times now that we've recorded those episodes, Val. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Tracy, you look cute today.
Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, Marlee. Yeah, much more. Tracy would agree. And the hair. Like, the hair implants are really coming in really nicely for you, Tracy.
Not Tracy.
Yes. Well, and Val, we're really excited because we're talking about D23. And I love doing Movies That Make Us with you. But you also are on another podcast called Multiplane Podcast with Ty, who unfortunately was able to be here with us. And that's all things Disney. So you guys are our Disney experts here in Age of Geek.
And I feel like I thought I was a Disney expert until I met Ty. And then I realized how little I really actually know. Because, and that's, I'm a little sad he's not here because he like deep dives. If you've ever listened to any of our episodes, he deep dives into things that I never even knew were a thing. He points things out that you miss. So hopefully we'll get to have another chat with him because there's so many things Disney to talk about right now. Like we're not even going to be able to cover it.
No,
definitely not.
No, not in one episode. Tons of stuff that happened at D23. So D23 Expo is like the San Diego Comic-Con for Disney nerds. Probably even a bigger deal, really, honestly, for Disney nerds.
Yes.
It's this great big convention. They have it. They alternate places, right? Because one year it's in Anaheim, one year it's in Orlando. I feel like that's
so it's every other year. It's in Anaheim, and then so next year, 2023, it's a smaller, kind of more intimate gathering in Florida. But there were some things happening in Orlando during D23. If you were in Orlando, there were some things at the park, just not a huge convention like this. But the opposite year, it's more of like 1,000 to 2,000 person event in Orlando. It's not as big as Anaheim at all.
Yeah. Well, Anaheim, they've got that big convention center that's basically right across the street from Disney. I mean,
yes,
not right across the street, but pretty close. And Val, you got to be there this year. What was that like? I've never been. I've always wanted to.
Me
I have never been, and I should have done like a little bit of homework. My daughter had been sending me, so we're pin traders, and that's kind of how D23 really came about. It was Disney fans getting together, trading pins, sharing the love for Disney, that kind of thing. And it grew into this big thing. And so I didn't know that everything has a line. And you think that I would know because it's Disney. But if you want to buy anything in any of the big shops there, any of the big booths, like Mog or like the D23 shop or anything, you have to get in the queue. They open the queues up at 6 a.m. on your phone. And then you get in the queue and then it'll say, okay, you'll be called like your number 66 or 800 and you'll be called 300 minutes from now. And then it kind of like goes down and says, okay, now it's your time to go in. If you don't get in, then you have another chance at 1 o'clock to get in. But by that time, because a lot of the shops rotate collectible items out daily. So a lot of people legitimately buy a pass to D23 to go in, hoard all of the stuff, and immediately take it back to their hotel room, put it online, and sell it for 5 times the amount.
Wow.
So I found that out the hard way. But you know me, I'm just like, I'm happy to be here. I'm having a good time. But because I was working, I didn't have the kind of pass that kind of allows you to get into like the panels, because you have to connect it to your D23 app, connect to the Disney Park app. And then it's just like any reservation that you would make at the Disney Park is you put yourself down for a reservation for these big panels, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you how, but I got into the one I wanted to get into.
Well, and And it wasn't like it was the big panel. Or wait, was it?
I mean, I have some video. I don't know if you want me to share it of Harrison Ford.
Ah!
I can't even imagine. Like, how cool was that when he came out in that panel, Val? What was that?
And I have, if you want me to share it so everybody can see that moment, it's not. So I want to explain this to you. So they've got panels like every other event, right? But they're big panels. This is where they're announcing parks. This is where they're announcing animation. This is where they're announcing movies. So the one that I was trying to get into was the Marvel Lucasfilms, which everybody does. And the premiere seating for that, they sell 500 premiere seating tickets for $700 a pop. That's on top of the price of your badge to get in. Okay.
Wow.
Those people get to go in seat an hour before, and then they have the other people under there that have waited in line. And then there's a standby line. Plus there's media. So there's all these people trying to get in. And it's a pretty big room, but it's not overwhelming. Like, it still feels pretty intimate regardless of where you're sitting. And so I got into the Marvel Lucasfilms 20th Century Fox. This is where they're announcing all of the Marvel movies, television shows that are coming out over the next couple of years, all the Star Wars movies, television, animation for the next couple of years. Then, of course, 20th Century Fox is Avatar. And so we got to see about 20 minutes of Avatar in 3D.
Wow.
They gave us glasses. They closed curtains. And we got to see James Cameron wasn't there. He did a live stream because he's actually in New Zealand finishing some stuff up. And then he brought the whole cast out. And I have a little funny story about that I'll tell you in a minute. But I think the biggest thing was I don't get very starstruck, right?
Right.
But Harrison Ford, man, like, they're going through all these movies and they'll bring up a thing and and so you hear the music and the artwork comes up on the screen. We're like, there's no way Harrison Ford is going to be here, right? Out comes Harrison Ford. I'm trying to record, right? And I'm usually pretty good at doing this. Right. Everybody stands up. This is the only time we've been in there an hour now. This whole panel was 3 hours long. It went over by an hour. Everyone stands up. So I'm trying to where am I going to get the best thing from? And then Harrison Ford starts trying not to cry.
Wow.
So then we're all trying not to cry, right? Basically thanking all of us for letting him be a part of Indiana Jones for so long. And I've never seen this man be emotional. He's usually kind of sarcastic and kind of fun. And he's holding back tears. And so the audience, we're all just you can feel it, the emotion, you're seeing it. And I've already cried 5 times during this panel before Harrison Ford. So just happy tears of joy. And so I do have a little bit of that. I can show it to you now, or you can put it in there later. It's up to you.
You'll send it to me, Val. I'll try to cut it in the video.
But he can show it to you. But it was really cool. Again, I was a little back and forth a little bit, but you can feel that emotion. And he did say that this movie is awesome. And I don't think he would lie to us. And then they showed us a 15-minute clip of the movie. And it was awesome.
Wow.
I jokingly said, and I was kind of serious at the same time, because he did announce that this was going to be his last appearance as Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he's very firm.
Yeah, which is fine. My feeling is The Last Crusade should have been his last appearance as Indiana Jones. But I've heard good things about this from a lot of sources. And I think this is Harrison Ford, this is so out of character for him to be that emotional and be that attached to a project, because even when he was touring with Star Wars, The Force Awakens, he was kind of just over it. He didn't, and it shows you how much he cares about this project and this character. And so I'm really hoping it's very, very good.
From what I saw of it, it is action packed. This is an action adventure movie. And the actors that they got to bring in the new ones and the actors that they're bringing back. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the trailer is out yet, but some of our favorites are coming back.
Well, I know one of the pictures that's been circulating from the expo is Short Round with Indy reunited. I don't know if he's in the film, but
they did not show him in the movie, but that moment was really cute. So I do want to say this. So he does say, you know, this is my last movie unless, and then he's like, not unless. I am not falling down for you guys anymore. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't, my body can't take it anymore. This is the last one. But he was like, you'll see in the videos that I sent you, he is very firm. This is awesome. Like, just the emotion that he puts out there. It's a project he's very proud of. And so I'm super excited to see it. And then we get to Loki Season 2. With Loki Season 2, the actor that plays Short Round is in Loki Season 2. So they bring out the whole cast of Loki and they bring him out and he's like, wait, this isn't the Indiana Jones panel.
Oh my gosh. Just trolling.
And so backstage they got this picture. So I don't know, they haven't revealed that yet, but I would really hope now, you know, that he's back in the family with all these things, that he gets to be in there. He was fantastic in Everywhere, All at Once, whatever. I can't ever remember that movie title. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. He was fantastic. But yeah, so we have the Indiana Jones. Loki Season 2. You know that if you listen to any of the podcasts that we're on, I thought Loki Season 1 was fine.
Right.
Loki Season 2 looks amazing. So they brought out the entire cast. They brought out the new cast members. They showed us a little bit of what's to come, and it looks intense. It's going even darker with more action, and it still has the comedy elements that I think we liked from the original Loki season. But for me, I think I'm going to like this season a lot more than I liked that.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, that was really cool. There's so much Star Wars coming. Jon Favreau comes out on stage, and I'm just like, they're the two, like, we get Jon Favreau, which is one of my favorite human beings of all time, Harrison Ford and Paul Rudd. I'm like,
I know.
There's so much happiness and goodness in this room right now. And then Fellini is there, and, you know, we've got everybody, but there's so much Star Wars coming, and Bad Batch Season 2 is coming, and they showed us a lot of that animation, which looks so cool. We have Ahsoka coming,
right?
Which looks phenomenal, and just to see how that character has grown through the series, you know, through all the animated series, and then the fact that she's going to get her own show now. We really did, like, if you've grown up watching anything Ahsoka has been in with Disney, we've seen her grow, and now we kind of get to really see what this character is all about on her own, and not as kind of, you know, a side character, I guess. Which looks really cool. But there's so much really great animation. There's going to be a bunch of Star Wars animated shorts coming out, which is really cool. And I just can't.
Are focusing on Dooku when he became Darth Tyrannus. Was that? Yeah, that was his.
Yes,
name, right?
Yes.
So
what's cool about that is I love Dooku as a character, and the fact that all of this stuff is going to be right there on Disney Plus for us to see in the next 2 years, everything's just rolling out. And I know a lot of people have been like, they're giving us too much stuff. Nothing fits together. Basically what they did in this panel is they made everything fit together.
Nice.
Everything in the Star Wars universe, everything in the Marvel universe. So, you know, just the things that we have coming for Star Wars is fantastic animation wise, which I'm really excited about. Going back to Marvel for a minute, Ant-Man, the first movie, was fantastic. Ant-Man Wasp was fine.
Right.
The next Ant-Man movie looks incredible.
Oh man.
It's going to be good. It has so much of that comedy and so much of tying things together that we have been waiting for from phase 4, 5, and 6. Like this next section of series and movies that are coming out really are pulling things together. But I think this one is going to really show why Ant-Man is important to this time period. You know what I mean? Like, I think Ant-Man has kind of been that comedy relief. He's the reason why Endgame was so successful. Nobody gives him the credit for Endgame.
No, he saved half the population in the universe because he came up with the time heist. That was all.
Yes, true. It's true.
He deserves all the credit.
Go ahead.
Well, that'll be good that things are finally coming together, because whenever I talk to my friends about Marvel shows and movies, they're just like, I'm so burnt out. I'm done. I stopped watching because there's just way too much going on. And I'm like, no, you have to keep going. And like, even like little snippets that we've seen in like Ms. Marvel or even She-Hulk, you know, other things like that. Like, I'm like, well, you would know that these things are happening if you watched those shows. And they're like, well, I haven't seen that one yet. And I'm like, well, you have to stick with it. I mean, I guess this is kind of a way to find out who the true fans are.
Right? I mean, everybody has their own thing. And I think what they've created is that there is something for everyone. I'm the kind of person where, like, I'm going to watch all of it regardless, but I have my favorites just like everyone else.
Oh,
and the fact that they're giving us Quantumania, which I think is going to be fantastic. And then we have Wakanda Forever, which we got to see a new like 10-minute section of Wakanda Forever. This movie to me, I think, is going to be one of the most important movies, not only I think in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think one of the most important movies that will be given to us this year. Because if you don't think this movie is going to be pushing some buttons and making some points, you haven't been paying attention to Wakanda. And Angela Bassett has the power, and she, like, these clips that they showed us, there's so much heart and so much, like, I think truthness to these characters that it just gives me chills every time I talk about it.
I don't know that I'm ready for Wakanda Forever. I
don't know that any of us are.
Yeah. My son the other day, my youngest, he didn't know that Chadwick Boseman had passed away because he's fixed, right? What happens in the outside world doesn't really. And so we were talking about Black Panther, and my wife mentioned to him that the actor had died, and I'm not kidding, inconsolable for like 5 minutes. He would not stop crying because he's like, there's no more. And so he is excited about Wakanda Forever, and I'm nervous that it's going to be an emotional ride for everyone involved.
And I think it's meant to be. And I think a lot of people, we're going to get a ton of haters on this one because they're going to be like, why do you got to do this, that, and the other? But there's things that happen in the storyline that we should have been talking about a long time ago, just in our regular human existence. Mm-hmm. But the way that they're telling the story, I think, is so powerful. And they're not just kind of laying down on the fact that Chadwick is dead. There are moments in the footage that I have seen that are powerful. And then the cast all saying, this is something we wanted to make sure that we made our brother proud.
Right.
You know, and we all, I get emotional just thinking about it again, you know, just the tears in that audience of, like, he fought to make that movie when he knew he was dying, because he knew how important it was for people to have a hero, everyone to have a hero to look at and that seems like them, and to talk about things. And I love Angela Bassett has been a great voice and a powerful person for a long time, but I think this may be probably one of her best roles in this movie. And the women of Wakanda are having their moment. This is it. Like, it really should be Wakanda Forever, the women of Wakanda. Like,
and everything that you've just shared, I am so nervous that the trolls are gonna be out.
I already know they will. And for me, I'm just staying away from it.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone that goes to see it, there is a whole group of people that have been waiting so long for this movie to happen and to actually see themselves and see their story on the big screen. And I'm so excited for them. Like, I'm so excited for this to happen for us as well, because I think there's so much happening in Marvel and what they're doing and how inclusive they're being, I think is just so responsible. And if it pisses you off, you should probably find a different fandom, because we're not stopping there. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface of what they're doing that I think will make some people mad that are just wanting to keep with the white Marvel superhero.
what I love about what they're doing with the inclusivity, and that's not what we're not going to go deep on that for this particular episode. But what I love about it is anybody can be a superhero. That's the message, right?
Yep.
Anyone, doesn't matter what you look like, what abilities anyone can be a superhero. And I had that thought, Val, when you shared the video with me from the Echo part of.
Yeah, I was going to go there next.
Yeah. Which is one that we're looking forward to in my house. And I swear, if I see one more person say, "Why are we making this? Because nobody cares about this character," I might punch that person through the internet somehow.
That's terrible.
So the cool thing about Echo, let's get into Echo, and then we're gonna go from Echo to Ironheart. So I'm gonna kind of lay out some things. So Echo is a character that we were introduced to. Was it this year or last year? I don't know.
It was this year with Hawkeye. Yeah.
I don't know what year we're in. Was Hawkeye out this year or last year? So Echo is a character that we got to learn. And I really loved her character because in Hawkeye, they kind of like just gave us a little bit at a time of Echo, right? But what we learned from Echo is that Echo is a character who cannot hear. And the actress that plays this character also is hearing impaired. She also has a prosthetic leg. This is who she is as a person. This is not somebody with a green screen prosthetic leg or somebody who is pretending not to be able to hear. Everyone on this cast came out, including Vincent D'Onofrio.
Who's coming next week to FanX. Quick plug for FanX.
He will be in Echo. He will be in a few things that we're going to talk about tonight. Everyone on that set in the cast learned ASL. And some of them spoke in ASL on the stage. And they all just praised her on how just such a great person she has been and up in this whole process. But the thing that really, really got to me was when we went down the list of cast members and we got to Graham Greene. I don't know if you guys know who Graham Greene is, but he is a Native American actor who has been in like every Native American role actor movie forever. He was in, Green Mile, Die Hard, Wolf and the Lion, which was a great movie, Thunderheart, Dances with Wolves. Like if you saw his face, you would know him.
Right.
So he knows all of these kids and he's like, I have grown up watching these kids grow up. Like he's been in the film industry just watching them grow up, and now they are all not being spread out as the Native American in the movie. They are all in a Native American cast superhero series for Marvel on Disney Plus. And they really get into the history in this. There's a lot of flashbacks. There's a lot of actors that you'll see and I know this person. I know that person. But awesome. They really get into the history of Native Americans, and they really get into also just kind of, she has the seedy background with her family. So you still get that action packed, and that superhero side of it, but it looks so cool. And the cast is amazing. And the production value of this film is really interesting. I can't wait to talk about it also with Tracy, and so he can like nerd out with the cinematography.
Yes. Go into professor mode for us. Yeah.
Go into professor mode.
Oh my gosh.
And so Echo was so cool. And then at the end, they had everybody, put their hands up and clap for, and she was just so emotional to have that happen at with this huge audience. I was emotional because I'm also thinking of Jake. I'm thinking of your kids and all the kids that I know and adults that I know that we haven't had a superhero for you. Like you said, everyone can be a superhero and they're out there. So let's see them. And so that's what we have in that show. And then we have Ironheart. And Ironheart, I don't know if you guys have seen a lot about Ironheart or if you know a lot about it. I had no idea this show was even being put into play, but this is the Latin American kind of superhero fiction coming up. And this one, when they showed us what was going on with this, it has Anthony Ramos, who I absolutely love.
How could you not? I love it. Yeah, he's amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
And Dominique Thorne is the main superhero character in this. She is Ironheart. But Anthony Ramos we don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. So he's kind of
interesting.
playing this like side, but they're all kind of anti-heroes is what it looks
Yeah.
like to me. Like they're trying to get things done. It's like a Robin Hood kind of story. Like stealing from the rich, giving to the poor or who they think deserve it more. And it's a little heisty. It's a little, you know, just we don't know who is good. We don't know who is bad. You know, it's a gray line of mystery, and that's a series that's going to be coming out as well. So
That's
super
awesome.
excited about that one.
I
Go
love
ahead.
this. I love this because we've seen Miss Marvel now. We've seen how they've introduced a lot of her Pakistani background and her heritage, and introduced to a culture that, frankly, I'm not familiar with at all.
Mhm,
Yeah.
And how
same.
great that was. And so I'm excited to get more cultures and more exposure for my kids and for myself. So I think this is
Well,
awesome.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
speaking of that leads us to the Marvels, right?
Ooh, yes.
So we have the Marvels. So in the Marvels, this is such a fun cast because we have all of the superheroes that they have been giving us. And this is a action-packed female cast as well, and a female director for the Marvels. But it was so funny because they said when they cast Miss Marvel that they didn't realize how big of a Marvel fan she was.
Yeah. Oh
And
my gosh.
it made him a little nervous because like she's out there just freaking out, but her character is actually a huge fan as well, right?
Right.
It's perfect. It's like the
yeah.
perfect role for this girl.
So in the Marvels, they're trying to basically figure out who they all are and how they interact with each other. So we have Brie Larson, we have, and I don't know how to say her name, Eamon Valani, who plays Miss Marvel, and then Tenyo Paris, who plays Monica Rambeau,
Yes.
and Lashana Leach and Zawe Ashton. They're all these phenomenal women who play these characters, and it's funny because there's 3 of the main characters, and they all kind of figure out who each other are on accident, and all of their powers, they don't know how to interact their powers together, so they're jumping through time and space and trying to work together, and it's kind of a comedy, but at the same time they're doing superhero things as well. So it looks like it's going to be kind of just this really fun adventure for all of these women. So
I hope
Love
they
it.
build off of the setup that we got at the end of Miss Marvel when Captain
Yes.
Marvel shows up there and is in this obvious fangirl's room, and I hope that ties in somehow. But I'm excited for it. I
Yeah.
like Brie Larson a lot, and I liked Miss
Mhm.
Marvel a lot, so this will be really good.
I know. Yeah, all 3 of these ladies coming together in the same movie is just going to be awesome because yeah, we've seen them in their own separate things.
Yes.
So I love like that's the thing I love about Marvel is that we get all of these like combinations and crossovers and all of that. It's just so fun.
I think the biggest crossover that I am excited for is Thunderbolts.
Ooh.
Really? Okay.
Thunderbolts is Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, Hannah John Kamen, and I don't know if you remember her from the second Ant-Man who played Ghost.
Right.
Oh yes.
And let me see who else is in that one. The poster for that movie is hilarious, by the way. Hilarious. We get Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Olga, I don't know how to say her last name, I don't want to ruin it. And then Hannah John Kamen and Sebastian Stan and Florence Pugh.
Right.
So the fact that they're bringing Wyatt Russell back as John Walker, the fact that we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she was there and she's now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you don't remember watching her last year, or was that this year? I don't know.
It was this year.
Winter Soldier? Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yep.
Was that last year?
Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I want to say that was
swear
last year.
It
That
was
was last year.
You're right.
Yeah, Falcon and
I
Winter
take
Soldier.
it all
So
back.
that one for me is, I think it's the most interesting because I love it when they deal with anti-heroes, right? I love it when they deal with this kind of like, I love Sebastian Stan's character, and he's gone back and forth from good to bad to good to bad to, and the last time we left him, he was like erasing the blood off of his ledger. You know, that red was going away. And so now he's going to be with the Thunderbolts with everybody that has a huge ledger. Wyatt's character is starting one. I mean, he freaking put blood on the freaking, you know, Captain America shield. And so for me, it's the most interesting because I think they can do the most playing with that. Do you know what I mean? Like they can really give us some interesting stories. And David Harbour, come on.
Okay. So the cast, the actors, absolutely fantastic. Florence Pugh, yes. David Harbour. I want just a movie with just the two of them as a buddy cop, whatever kind of movie, because I loved them as Red Guardian and Yelena. I thought they were great in Black Widow. Probably my favorite parts of the movie. I just feel like when I look at it, you've got Red Guardian, you've got Winter Soldier, you've got U.S. Agent. Those are all Captain America wannabes. So it's like 3 Captain America wannabes and then a bunch of other people. Like, I just wanted more diversity in the type of characters they were going to have. Being said,
announced everyone that's wrong. Just the main cast.
Yeah. And I have been completely wrong. When they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I said, this is going to be the first flop that Marvel has had. And I was totally wrong.
Interesting, Jake.
I'm wrong. So,
And you know me, I loved Falcon, Winter Soldier, and so Captain America: New World Order.
Yes.
I'm super excited for, and how they're going to mix that in with Thunderbolts. I think will be interesting because Thunderbolts is a movie and the new Captain America one is a movie, so it's not a series, but then you have the other series. So you have those two together. And that one has a very interesting cast of people, and you know, we have our regular ones, but I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for Daredevil Born Again. Out came Daredevil.
So jealous.
They didn't have anything to show us for that because they haven't shot it yet, but they did share with us a scene from an episode with Daredevil and She-Hulk. So it was a really cool like snippet from an episode that's coming up where they're together. And so I'm kind of excited to see how that's going.
Yes. I'm excited too. I understand I was reading some snippets from Charlie Cox and some of the things that he shared, and Marlee, it is not looking good for what we talked about with Larry and Blake, that it is probably not going to follow that storyline at all, which is fine. They just kind of ripped off the name, but that's all right. I don't care. It's going to be great.
Well, and I saw that same thing earlier today too, about how they're like, no, it's not going to be a season 4. It's going to be a season 1. And it's like, what does that mean? Is it just because it's now on Disney Plus, and so they're just starting over? Or it's just like
a lot of the other cast members of the Defenders will not be making new shows, and so I think what they're doing is they're basically giving us an MCU version of this character, so that then we can incorporate him with this phase of the MCU and have him go between cinema and TV.
So hold on.
Right.
You're telling me they're not doing another Iron Fist season?
I hope not. Oh my gosh.
Well,
oh my gosh.
I mean, with what you're saying though, like, because my biggest concern is like, is everything that happened in Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3 from Netflix like gone? Like, does it even matter?
I don't know. I just think they're going to introduce us to his life with the characters that are inside the MCU. They'll probably make reference to his past. You know what I mean? But I don't think we're not going to see all of the characters pop up. I'm not saying we're not going to see none of them, but I do know that a lot of those actors have said that they're not coming back to do those characters. I
already feel like Wilson Fisk was a very different Kingpin in Hawkeye.
That is true.
He's very, very different. Very different.
Yeah, he was wearing a Hawaiian print T-shirt, or
I mean, he does that in the comics. So
yeah.
Don Cheadle has to be super excited because the MCU is putting him to work with 2 series back to back. So the first one is Armor Wars, and Armor Wars is basically what happens when, and we've kind of seen this in the movies, but now we're really going to get into it. But when Stark Industries technology gets into the wrong hands, that's basically what Armor Wars is going to be, a series about that. And then right out of that, we are going to get Secret Invasion. Now, Secret Invasion, and they actually that might be switched. It might be Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I can't remember what order it's
Armor
in.
Wars. I think it's Secret Invasion first, and then Armor Wars. Secret Invasion is the one I'm most excited about because I do love Don Cheadle and I love his character. But we are going to get to know, really get to know Samuel L. Jackson and the backstory of his character, because we are being invaded. The green characters, remind me what they're called. Scrolls, and they have been invading us since the 1980s or sooner, and now we're here in present day, and we don't know who our enemies are or what they look like or where they are. And Don Cheadle, they both sit down. The scene that they showed us, they're sitting down in this restaurant and basically having like a come to Jesus talk with each other about are they really there to help each other out? Is this something they can really do together? Do they really trust each other? Because Don Cheadle is now a different part of the government than, Samuel L. Jackson's character. And I'm really excited because I think both of their characters are super interesting, and they both have played kind of these fun background characters. I mean, I know Samuel L. Jackson has been in almost every one of the movies, but we haven't really done a deep dive into who he is and what he has been doing behind the scenes during all of this time. And so this is us jumping through where he's been, where he's going, and what the Secret Invasion is. And it looks really, really intense. And they are basically having those go back to back on Disney Plus. So very, very cool. Samuel L. Jackson was not there, but Don Cheadle was there. And just super, super nice. What I think is just way crazy that I didn't expect from the MCU was Wolf by Night. We kind of heard that it was coming.
Insane.
I don't really know what it is.
So I want you to, and Marlee, you're really young. Jake, you're both very young, but you both know monster movies, right? You both understand Hitchcock monster movies and how those were shot. Wolf by Night, what they showed us of Wolf by Night, it is shot in that it's black and gray. It is these, like a woman will scream and they'll freeze on her face, and then they go through these things. And it is basically all of these people are called to this house, and they're all superheroes. One of them is a creature, a villain, and they're not telling anyone who it is. And that person is basically lying and saying that they are someone else. And they're basically kept there until they get out alive.
This is where I wish that Ty were here.
Yeah, because he could deep dive into this one.
Because I think this ties into something in the Marvel universe, in the comics that I'm not familiar with. And he would totally know all about it and be able to give us all the deets on it. But
we've talked about this a little bit on Multiplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like that game Werewolf that you play with big groups of people where one person is secretly the werewolf and everybody else are like villagers or whatever. And you go around and you tap them on the shoulder and they die, or I don't know, whatnot. But
Werewolf, Mafia, Secret Hitler,
Mafia,
all those kind of games. Yep.
Oh yeah. It sounds like that, but in a movie form. So it sounds really interesting. But yeah, I'm curious.
And that is coming out soon on Disney Plus.
That will be out. That will be their Halloween movie that they put out for Halloween, because they have Hocus Pocus that comes out in a couple weeks.
Right. Already?
Yeah, Hocus Pocus comes out, I think, on the 20. Doug Jones told me it was coming out on the 21st. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm going to throw that out there.
I love
it. So I'll be reviewing it probably next week. But
it's awesome.
But yeah, so this is their Halloween drop, basically.
I'm super excited. It looks really, really interesting, very stylized. Val, you may be a little bit frozen, so if it seems like we're talking over you, I'm sorry. But yeah, it looks really interesting, Marlee.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm curious how it all fits in with the rest of like Marvel though, if it even really does. It sounds like it's like they said, I think it's like a special project or something. So it's just like a totally separate thing.
Yep.
But I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know. We may have lost Val here, and I think she's
Hi,
still
sorry.
Okay. Okay.
There we go. You're back.
I am so sorry.
I was like trying to drag it out. Yeah,
It's
werewolf by night.
conspiracy. No. No, I was just excited. Like some people are really gonna like this, and then some people are gonna kind of think along the lines of like the first 3 episodes of WandaVision and be like, this is too weird for me. And that's okay. You don't have
Yep.
to love everything.
Yep. Absolutely right.
That is true.
So just a ton of Marvel stuff that came out, a ton of Star Wars stuff. I loved some of the stuff that they shared about the parks that are coming up, Val. I don't know. I know that was a different panel, but
yeah.
still
Yes.
lots of news about the parks.
A lot coming. So if you love California Adventure, they're actually going to be putting a hotel on Paradise Pier. If you've been thinking that, I love Marvel movies, but the Avengers campus needs little something, believe me, they have plans. They are bringing us a new Marvel ride, and it stars Thanos. And they had a giant Thanos on site with armor. And I'll send you a lot of these pictures, and you can do whatever you want with them if you want to share them. But so basically, it is an Avengers ride, but with Thanos as the main person in this ride, which is going to be very cool.
Yeah. And what I also like, speaking of California Adventure, is they're turning the wharf, Pacific Wharf, to San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco.
Yeah, look, I got Big Hero 6 right here.
Yeah, which I love, is my favorite. Like I've got the signed poster of the movie right there with all of the actors and director, and I specifically look for that stuff. And so I love that they're not forgetting that. So we're gonna get that. We're gonna get a Pixar hotel over there. So if you're a Pixar or Marvel fan, then there is a lot coming for you.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Sure. I need to go there. It's been way too long since I've been to Disneyland.
Well, next year, if you get the chance to go to any park, Disneyland, Disney World, next year's the year to do it, because it is their 100th anniversary.
Yep.
100 years of Disney. The 23, Marlee, 1923. See, 2023 is 100 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were handing out a lot of all of our bags from D23 said 100 years of celebration. And I got the official poster. Someone snagged me one because I was not in that panel, which was really cool. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to frame it. It's really cool artwork. But just a lot of really cool things. What's really cool about D23 also is I don't want to tell you not to go to the event if you can't get into the panels, because there are a lot of space inside the convention center where they live stream on the big screen, and they have places for you to sit so you can sit and watch these panels. And they have documentary panels, and they had artists there and authors and people that you could meet, and voices of the characters. And there's so much to do even if you don't go to any of those panels, but they are live streamed. You can see a lot of people. They have couches and chairs seated on all 3 floors where you can sit on. You see them on their phones or computers or tablets with the headphones on listening to it, but they also have that inside the main hall as well. They had a lot of free stuff to do and give away. Part of my job is to help run the technology where you tap your badge, and I got to sit in the new Tron ride. That is how the ride sits. Like you get in the Tron motorcycle, you pull it towards yourself, and that is how that ride sits in Florida. But they let everybody kind of get in, take a picture of that. And that's all free. Like you can try all those things for free. The pictures just get sent to you like you would on your Disney Pass.
Yeah, this is where the dad in me likes to point out it's not free. You still have to buy a ticket to get in. That's what my dad.
Right. I'm just saying, when you get in there, there are things.
He's like, no, I paid a ticket price to get in. Yes, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Oh my goodness.
But I do like that Disney, obviously they realize not everybody can get into the panels, and not everybody can afford, on top of a ticket into the convention, to also be able to get like the premiere seats and things like that.
Yeah.
So they still make a way for you to have access to it, but they don't stream it like all of the panels weren't streamed on YouTube. Like you couldn't see the Marvel.
No, you had to go to the Disney Plus
at
app.
the convention. Yeah.
Yeah. And so But I think that's worth the ticket of admission as well. Like you can sit
absolutely.
if you have the app and you have your ticket attached to it, then no matter where you were, if you were at your hotel room, you could stream it to your TV and watch it. You didn't have to be on site to watch that, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So, and they do have, again, standby. I was at the hotel right next to the standby line. So at 5:00 in the morning, I would sleep with my sliding door open in my hotel room. And you can hear all the people cheering because they start lining up at 2 a.m. to get in the 5 a.m. queue. And when they let them in, they cheer to go get into another line. But that's when you are a lover of something, that's what you're willing to do. And people love to do it. And some people have it down pat but they used to let them sleep overnight and do that before the pandemic. And now it's 5. They let them get in line at 2 a.m., start queuing at 5 a.m. For the first panel that's at 10. And there was an animation panel. We are getting Inside Out 2. We are getting Elementals. Just a lot of really fun stuff coming. I'm so excited. I don't know what they're going to do with Inside Out 2, but I love those characters and I love Elementals, and the artwork for Elementals is so neat.
I think Inside Out 2, I think that Riley going into her teenage years, that just writes itself, I think, in a lot of ways. So I'm excited to see how that works out. And then the other one, as far as the animation goes, that I thought looked interesting was Wish.
Yes.
Because it's going to be this kind of 3D watercolor kind of animation that looks beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
And I like that too. I like a lot of the 3D animation that's out there, but sometimes a little something different goes a long way too. So I think that'll be interesting. So love it. Well, lots of exciting stuff. Val, thank you for being here and sharing your experience with us. Like, it's so cool that you were there and you got to be there when Harrison Ford was there. That is just such a rare thing because he doesn't do a lot of conventions.
And like, Jon Favreau was just walking around the floor buying stuff.
Of course he was, because he's Jon Favreau.
Yeah, like, he don't care.
He's one of those that, like, I picture. He's just like a guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's some celebrities that are like
fan.
Yeah.
And that's what I really loved about. So like Fellini and Jon Favreau and oh my gosh, who's the guy that's really in charge of Marvel?
Kevin Feige.
Yeah, Feige. Like they all got up there, but I think Jon Favreau said it the best was him and Fellini were like, we're fans. We are fans making movies because we love Star Wars. And when we meet other people in the movie industry that love Star Wars or love Marvel, and they're like, hey, I've got an idea, then he's like, we want to talk because we want fans making these movies. And he's like, and I think you can tell just how dedicated we are and how much we really want to explore these universes is because we really do love this, like Mandalorian 2. We didn't even talk about Mandalorian. But like the whole Skeleton Crew show that's going to be coming out with Disney and Star Wars has Jude Law in it, and Skeleton Crew was basically some other producers that were working with him on a movie, and he's like, yeah, I'm over here making Mandalorian and it's really awesome. And they're like, well, we have an idea for Star Wars about this Skeleton Crew. And he's like, well, Favreau's just like, well, show me what it is. And then they made it. Like, they're just fans. They're like, we have this idea and we want to make this Star Wars thing. And then you bring in Jude Law. So
there you go.
And what I feel like with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, when you talk about them being fans, like I picture it like this. I grew up in what I consider the VHS generation for Star Wars, right? I was too young to see it in theaters. Return of the Jedi came out and I was like 1 year old, right? And we just had it on VHS, and there was nothing but the original trilogy. So we had to fill in all these holes. My friends and I, we would play games and imagine like what it would be like. And now they got to do that, and now they're in charge of making these stories. Like, it's like you get to put your own stories and imagination and everything that you thought about when you were a kid and said, this would be a really cool Star Wars story. And that's just awesome to me. It's just exciting. So can't wait for Mandalorian season 3. I think it comes out, they said February of next year. And
there's some crazy things happening. Having the whole cast there and the new cast and just showing us some clips. I don't even want to say anything because that they're going to be dropping these trailers in the next couple of days. And I'm one of those people that I want you to experience what I experienced when I first saw it. And they're so smart. And you can tell they're fans, and you can tell that they all care about it. Except for the one actress that plays the little short lady, the comedian.
Oh.
She was hilarious. She's like, yeah, all these people up here saying they love Star Wars. She's like, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Everybody says they're laughing at me because I'm so funny. They have to explain to me what I'm talking about. I just memorize my script. Like, they're all just laughing. She's like, I don't know this world. I don't know who these people are. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I memorize my script. I show up. They give me a mullet, and you guys laugh.
They give me a mullet. That's so funny.
That's awesome.
Well, she does a good job. So
Yeah, she
She's
does.
hilarious. So, Val, you are on Multiplane Podcast with Ty, where you guys are going to
Yes.
probably break down even more of this. You said Wednesday you're going to be on Good Things Utah on Channel 4 here locally talking about it.
Probably
So you
around,
guys
like,
don't want to miss that.
9:20. Yeah.
Yeah, 9:20. Got to check that out. And then, Val, where else can people find you? What to See with Val on YouTube?
What to See with Val, and that's everywhere. It's just all What to See with Val on YouTube, on Instagram. It's
your
actually
shoes.
I am Val Cameron is what I have almost everything under. But What to See with Val is my website. I just did a ton of interviews for TIFF, which is the Toronto International Film Festival, which is happening actually, I think, or just happened. I think we're in the middle of it. And so I got to see a lot of films while I was on the road for there, and I got to interview some very interesting filmmakers from all over the world. One of them, a South African heist movie, which was really, really fun. So you can check those interviews out on my YouTube channel. And then I will be on Good Things Utah again on Friday, talking about all the movies that will be coming out this week. So,
and next week, all of us are going to be at FanX, so you guys don't want to miss that. Val and I and Tracy will be doing a Movies That Make Us panel all about Spider-Man. 20 years that he's been on the big screen, and we're excited to talk about that. But yeah, you guys definitely want to check that out. You can find us on ageofgeek.com. YouTube channel is Age of Geek. Look for us there. Subscribe. Make sure you share us with your friends as well, because that gets the word out. So we appreciate it. And Val, thank you again so much for being here.
Yeah,
it sounds like it was a
thank you.
wonderful experience. I am not going to play the end credits right now because I'm going to leave some spaces to add some of those video clips that you're going to send me, Val, and then I'll add that at the end. But thank you, everybody, for being here, and thanks for listening. We will see you next time on Age of Geek.
Thanks.
Aren't you supposed to talk about my show? Wait, your show? I think you mean my show. Here we are now, once again. My name is Loki Season Two. This is the first time I've stood with these two gentlemen together, so it's pretty amazing. What is it like being back? The two of you who've been doing this for many, many years and now joining the Marvel Studios family.
I mean, it's emotional. It's really, really emotional. What an odd feeling to have been, in some ways, been doing this for a while, and yet we're starting again. You know, we get double the amount of time.
We're doing 18 episodes. We don't. From WandaVision, Monica Rambeau, Tiana Paris, and your Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers with Brie Larson. This is the big finale. The first time the three of them been together on stage. The first time any of them been to D23. And Mom, is this the first time you've been in front of 7,500 fans?
We take it.
This has been an Age of Geek media production.